Sometimes you stumble across a collection of information, and it's just so vast, so rich, it honestly feels like opening a portal, like straight into another time.
Yeah, exactly. An entire civilization laid out.
And that's pretty much what we're doing today. Imagine delving into centuries of human experience, all there, just waiting for someone to piece it together.
It's quite the task.
It is. So in this deep dive, we're journeying into the incredible historical record of Scotland. But, it's more than just looking at the past.
Uh-huh. It's about how we understand that past.
Exactly, how it's actually constructed. We'll meet a really fascinating historian, someone who dedicated his life to interpreting these kinds of materials.
Showing us how history isn't just, found in an archive.
Right. It's also made by the people who engage with it.
Their perspectives, their questions.
Totally. So for this, we're using two main sources. First, this huge thing called the Scottish History Collection 2015 from the University of Edinburgh.
It's basically a library in itself. Original documents, analyses.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then to see how someone uses sources like that, we're looking at the Goodreads profile for The Rousing of the Scottish Working Class.
Ah, yes, by Dr. James D. Young, a major figure.
A renowned Scottish historian. So our mission today, to give you a kind of shortcut, not just to what's in Scottish history, but the process itself.
The dynamic nature of historical inquiry.
Yeah, how historians, with their own backgrounds, their own views, actually build the narratives we read. We want to spark those aha moments, about what history is.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's try and open the vault on this Scottish history collection.
Yeah.
Honestly, just looking at the list, the sheer volume and variety, it's kind of mind-boggling.
It really is. Not just a few dusty books.
No, it's a detailed inventory. Centuries of Scottish life. It's like a complete mosaic.
So what kind of things are in there? Early stuff.
Oh, yeah. It goes way back. Ancient and medieval roots. You've got entries like Scottish Annals from English chroniclers, AD 500 to 1286.
Interesting. So English perspectives on Scotland.
Exactly. Think about that. Records compiled by English writers.
Yeah.
It gives you that external viewpoint. Often quite different, I'd imagine.
Like getting two different witness accounts. Crucial for comparison.
Definitely. Then you get these amazing insights into daily life in the burgs.
Ah, the medieval towns. Really important.
Absolutely. The economic, the social hubs, often with their own charters, self-governing.
The heart of civic life back then.
Totally. And we find these extensive extracts from the council register for the big cities. Aberdeen, going back to 1317.
Wow, that early?
Yeah. Edinburgh from 1403, Glasgow from 1573. And these are not dry lists,
No, they're the pulse of the city.
Exactly. Laws, disputes, market prices for bread, how they handled sanitation. It's the nuts and bolts of urban living.
The real groundwork for modern civic life, in a way.
It feels like it. And then, of course, the church. Huge role in Scotland.
Central, absolutely central.
And the collection reflects that massively. Volumes on the history of the Kirk of Scotland, the Scottish Church, by really influential figures.
And things like statutes, church laws.
Yep. Statutes of the Scottish Church, 1225, 1559. Basically, the internal legal codes.
Yeah.
And naturally, multiple volumes of John Knox's History of the Reformation.
Foundational texts. Can't understand Scotland without grappling with Knox and the Reformation.
No way. They show those profound religious shifts. Not just political, but deep cultural changes.
What's really striking there, I think, is how intertwined everything was. Secular life, religious life.
You really see that in the records.
Oh, absolutely. The church wasn't just, guiding souls. It was a massive landowner. It had legal authority. It was often a major political player.
Right, so you can't separate it out.
Not really. If you want to understand almost any aspect of Scottish history from that period, you have to understand the Kirk.
That's such a crucial point. And the collection keeps going. You want law and government. It's all in there.
Like the actual laws themselves.
Yeah, foundational legal stuff like the Practics of Sir James Balfour of Pittentrike. These were like early law textbooks guiding court decisions.
Okay, so shaping the legal system.
Definitely. And then these huge multi-volume sets.
Yeah.
The Register of the Privy Seal and the Register of the Great Seal of Scotland.
Sounds bureaucratic.
Well, yes and no. They're not just lists. They track the actual commands, the grants issued by the monarchs.
Ah, so how power was actually used day to day.
Exactly. Royal pardons, who got land, who didn't. It shows the evolution of legal thinking, royal decrees, the nitty-gritty of ruling.
Got it. So beyond the big structures.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really personal, I think. Incredibly intimate insights. Imagine reading the diary of Andrew Hay of Cregnathan, 1659, 1660.
A personal diary from the 17th century, amazing.
Or the Diary of the Reverend John Mill in Shetland, 1740, 1803. These give you that direct human connection.
Priceless, really.
In their own words, you get their experiences, their fears, their hopes. It's through these little windows that history really starts to breathe, doesn't it?
It does. It's those personal stories that often hit hardest, reminding us that, grand historical movements, they're built from countless individual choices, feelings.
Yeah.
Records like diaries let historians move beyond the abstract, get into the messy reality of human experience.
Exactly. Messy reality. I like that. And the economy, society absolutely covered too.
So what kind of economic records?
Books like Prices, Food and Wages in Scotland, 1550, 1780.
Oh,
Or account books like the Account Book of Sir John Foulis of Ravelston, 1671, 1707.
Down to the household level.
Pretty much. Not just big trends, but the cost of fixing the Guildhall roof or the price of oats. Real daily stuff.
Gives you a proper feel for the cost of living.
It does. And there's even stuff like Painters in Scotland, 1301, 1700. A biographical dictionary, so a peek into arts and crafts.
Wow, it really covers a lot of ground.
And the physical landscape, too. Archaeological site records, historic maps, blues maps of Scotland are in there.
So what this incredibly rich collection really highlights for you, the listener, is that history isn't just, it's not just kings and battles.
Right, or those grand political stories.
No, it's a mosaic. It's built from countless individual pieces, the everyday lives of ordinary people, their struggles, their beliefs.
Their jobs, how they ran their towns.
Exactly. Their economic realities, how they governed themselves, even how they, express themselves through art. Every single one of these documents offers a unique angle.
Yeah, there are just so many of them.
Which means there are always new stories waiting, or perhaps old stories that need rethinking, reinterpreting based on this evidence.
That's a great point. Because, you have this incredible wealth of sources. What's the next question?
Who gets to tell the stories?
Exactly. Who shapes these narratives? And that brings us to where things get really interesting. Because, not all historians approach the archives the same way.
No, they bring their own backgrounds, their own questions.
Definitely. Which leads us to our second source, Dr. James D. Young, a Scottish historian whose own path to academia was pretty remarkable.
Yes, quite unconventional for the time.
He actually left school at 14.
How?
14. Went to work as a laborer, then a railway worker.
Can you imagine that perspective shift? From the factory floor, the railways,
to the halls of Oxford. He eventually studied there, then got his PhD from Strathclyde in Scotland, became a reader in history at Stirling.
It's an amazing story. Real self-made scholar.
Truly inspiring.
And that personal journey, that background is absolutely key. You have to understand that to understand his work.
Yeah, so.
Well, his direct experience of working class life must have profoundly shaped the questions he asked when he looked at the historical record.
Right, the things he wanted to find out about.
Exactly. The aspects of Scottish society he chose to focus on, to bring to light.
That's a crucial distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just what they study, but how their own life informs the questions they ask. So Young is really celebrated for this seminal study, that's the word they use, of Scottish working class history.
The rousing of the Scottish working class.
That's the one. First published in 1979, later updated to cover right up to 2008 from 1774.
A huge sweep of history.
Yeah. And this book is just a perfect example of how a scholar takes all that vast data, like we saw in the collection, and synthesizes it, creates a specific, powerful narrative.
A narrative that maybe hadn't been told in that way before.
Quite possibly. The source notes he was prolific and also, some would say, most controversial.
Ah, yes. He certainly stirred debate.
His other works, titles like The Very Bastards of Creation, about Scottish international radicalism and socialism since 1889, they show this deep focus, labor, radicalism, social history.
And he chaired the John Maclean Society, too. Maclean was a major socialist figure.
Right, so that further underlines his focus.
So connecting this back, Young's personal journey, coming from that working class background himself, and his specific academic focus, it highlights something really crucial about studying history.
Which is the influence of the historian's own perspective, their experiences, their viewpoints, how that shapes their work.
And the source actually mentions his politics directly, doesn't it?
It does. Explicitly states that James D. Young embraced Scottish independence and Scottish republicanism while undertaking research for his book, The Rousing of the Scottish Working Class, 1979.
Okay. That's a strong statement.
It is. And again, this isn't about judging his beliefs right or wrong, isn't the point here.
So what is the point for us reading history?
It's about understanding that this strong identification, these political convictions, likely informed why he wanted to uncover that specific story, the story of the Scottish working class.
And maybe what he emphasized within that story.
Exactly. What aspects of their rousing, as he put it, seemed most compelling, most important to him, based on his own worldview and experiences? He wasn't just a detached observer.
He was actively looking for a narrative that resonated.
Resonated with his experience, his politics. He was bringing that perspective to the sources. So what does this all mean for us? When we pick up a history book, does a historian having a strong viewpoint, maybe even a political one, compromise their work?
Well,
Or does it add something?
that's the big question, isn't it?
And why was he seen as controversial? Was it just the politics? Or his methods, his conclusions? Did he challenge the establishment view?
Well, it raises an important point for you, the listener. It wasn't necessarily just his personal beliefs in isolation that caused controversy. It was more about how those beliefs intersected with his historical writing.
Okay.
Often, Young's controversy came from, yes, challenging the more traditional narratives, maybe narratives that were more politically conservative or focused more on elites, which had arguably dominated Scottish history writing before him.
So he was bringing in a different voice.
Absolutely. The voice and the perspective of the working class, of radical movements, things that some felt had been, well, underrepresented or even ignored.
So it encourages us, as readers, to always think about the author.
Yes. Consider their context. Ask yourself, why this particular story? Why this interpretation? The fact that we have these rich, diverse archives, like the Edinburgh collection, means multiple interpretations are usually possible.
The evidence can support different views.
Often, yes. A historian's job is to present their findings, grounded in those sources, rigorously argued, but then it's up to others, including you, to engage critically with it.
So reading history becomes more active.
Exactly. You're not just soaking up facts. You're understanding how knowledge is constructed, who constructed it, and why. It makes you a more critical thinker.
That's a fantastic insight. So today, we've really taken quite a journey.
We have, from the archives to the historian.
Yeah, not just into Scotland's past, that vast record, but into the actual crafts of history itself. We saw the sheer scale of stuff in the University of Edinburgh's collection.
Annals, council registers, diaries, accounts.
Everything. And then we looked at how one unique voice, James D. Young, with his own remarkable story and perspective,
could dive into those archives
and bring a specific vital story, like the Scottish working classes rousing to life, using that raw material.
It really shows the connection, doesn't it, between the raw data of the past and the historian's interpretation in the present.
Yeah, seeing the threads and recognizing history isn't static.
No, it's a living, breathing field, always evolving.
Precisely. So this exploration hopefully gives you a kind of condensed understanding. You see the huge effort behind history books, but also the critical thinking you need as a reader.
To be truly well-informed.
Yeah. It reminds us, history isn't just a set of facts handed down. It's this dynamic, ongoing conversation with the past. And it's definitely influenced by who's doing the talking.
Who's asking the questions.
Right. So as you think about that massive Scottish history collection and James D. Young's focused work, maybe consider this.
What else is waiting in there?
Exactly. How many other rousings, how many other untold stories might be sitting in those archives, waiting for historians with different perspectives, different questions?
Brave enough to dive in.
Yeah. What stories would you look for? And what unique perspective, what questions from your own life would you bring to them?